You're listening to Fucks Given, the one with Danica from 50 Plus a Tip. Oh, hello there, Reed.
Hello! I feel like we did the breathe in at exactly the same time. Hello!
Ready to talk.
And hello, Florence. Your name is Florence. My name is Reed. I forgot to slip that one in.
Yeah, this is our names. This is who we are.
Now it's just become too weird. Okay.
It's really weird. What's been going on, girl?
You know what? I don't have much of an update. I had a really good therapy session this morning, which was so good.
Amazing.
And I'm feeling really good today. My arm isn't hurting, so I've managed to get back on my workout routine rather than just doing other stuff. So yeah, I'm feeling really good about that. What about you, Florence? How are you?
God, I'm happy because I don't know why I'm putting on an accent.
It's too easy.
I'm happy because I'm having sex again.
Yeah,
and like it just means so much. It just like having a regular lay and like a regular partner is so lovely.
Wait. We need to say good sex, because having lots of crap sex is still just as lonely and isolating.
Oh my God, yeah. And I feel like I was having that at the beginning of this year. Like when I got back to London, I was just having bad sex after bad sex. Not that I didn't have it that, and actually I didn't have it frequently, but every time it was like, So it's really lovely to be in a situation where I'm connecting with someone and having good sex. That's like super connected as well.
Yeah,
like a really
you can't put words on it.
Sexy eye contact moments, you know?
Oh, we love some of those. Is this the same dude from the party? I mean, I don't know why I'm asking, because I know it is, but I meant to like open up the conversation to the date. But would you want to talk about the date? Or would you want to save that for when you do actually go horse riding?
Yes, we didn't go horse riding. So we did this VR escape room, which was my first time ever doing VR.
Yeah, and VR's fucking insane.
My God, like I'm an Assassin's Creed fan. So when they were like, there's an Assassin's Creed escape room, I was like, holy shit.
Sign me up.
Sign me up, please. And oh my God, it was so fun. And when I looked down and I had hands in this VR world and like could see my feet
like
and
glitchy, and you're like
my I don't know, all the clothes. I was so fun.
Yeah, would highly recommend people to do VR at least once, like proper VR, like go to a place, have a whole headset and like be in a room and shit.
It's a great date idea. I really recommend it as a date, even though you're kind of in separate place, like because you both go into like your little pod, but then you're in each other's ears and your voices are all like echoey and
yeah, because you hear each other and communicate. I took Sam for his birthday last year, and it was so fun. And they were filming us being like normal on the outside, but we think we're in this like crazy world, and then we're just there like, like just looking like so weird and awkward.
Yeah, so sick.
Yeah, some good stuff. So without further ado, we're going to bring on Danica from the podcast 50 Plus a Tip, because she is an amazing sex working badass. So can't wait to chat to her.
That's hot.
Danica, hello. It's so lovely to have you on the podcast. How are you?
Yes. I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk with you ladies.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here. You're super, super interesting. You guys have been chatting on the gram, right?
Yeah, it was like an Instagram contact. Danica reached out as we are in the sex worker realm, and you have an incredible podcast about sex work. Or is it dancing? Is it stripping specifically, or is it the whole genre?
The whole gamut. Yeah, it's sex work kind of as a whole, and then every once in a while we'll jump out and have some squares come on to talk about their sex lives, and for example, like
wait, some squares,
non-sex workers. Yeah, wait, I feel like I maybe coined this. It was like a nicer way of saying like a non-sex worker, but then it doesn't really sound that nice sometimes. But like civilians,
because it's like that. I quite like that though, because
right?
I feel like sex workers are like round, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Like wavy.
Round.
Non-sex workers are square. But then everyone who's listening to this who's a non-sex worker, they're like, I'm not square, please.
Yeah. Danica, please, could you tell our curious fuckers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so name's Danica. Stage name was Danica Darling. Don't do as much stage anymore, so I've dropped the darling part. I'm a sex worker, obviously, predominantly a stripper. I do private parties, dom, and escorting.
Beautiful.
I don't know if you lecture your guests on the difference between escorting and prostitution, but all that.
No, but we should get into that. We need to know. Please educate us.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So obviously escorting is paid time. Prostitution's paid sexual services, right? So here, especially because we have a Nordic model in Canada, not to bore your listeners already.
Okay, for everyone else
I
out
did not
there,
know that.
That's fucking awful. For anyone who might not understand what the Nordic model is, which is what they're trying to do in the UK as well, please explain what the Nordic model is.
Yeah, I mean, in short, it's bullshit. It's this weird way of sex work being legal, but then so many aspects of it are illegal.
It's legal for us to have sex for money here in the UK, but with the Nordic model, it would be, people who would buy it from us could be arrested, and it helps no one and nothing. And they're trying to make it out that it stops trafficking, but trafficking and sex work are two very different things.
How would that stop sex trafficking? If anything, it would make it worse.
I have no fucking
because then
clue. It's not stopping.
If the buyer's the one that's getting in trouble, then obviously the only people that are going to be doing it are the sex traffickers and doing it underground and more shady.
Yeah. You push it underground and then it makes it harder to report anything. If I saw something dodgy going on, I don't know how safe I would be as a sex worker reporting it, because they could just turn around to me and be like, you're a sex worker, you're doing this, that's illegal, blah, blah, blah. And then I could be the one that gets the finger pointed at. And I'm sure it's the same. It's the same in so many other countries where people, sex workers, want to fight against all the negativity and all the horrible shit that happens in the industry, like any other industry has, but we can't fight against it because we're at risk too. And again, we're not taken seriously by the police either. So I've heard horror stories of literal violent acts happening and the police coming there being like, well, you shouldn't have been a sex worker. You were asking for this.
Yeah, the total
it's terrifying.
Victim blaming.
Which I mean is not anything new for anyone who's female identifying in the community or female presenting. Those phrases of well, you asked for it, you shouldn't have done this. All the onus is constantly on the female presenting person in most situations. Which,
oh my god, I literally had that. Someone said to me the other day, I was on the phone to my friend and I was talking about a really dodgy message that I got, and his mate chipped in and was like, oh yeah, but what did you do though?
Yeah, how dare you have social media? You're asking for it.
Yeah. When you post provocative images, of course people are gonna go there. It's ridiculous. Oh yeah, work in the sex industry. I do want to highlight as well, also people of colour and in the LGBTQ community are even more at risk. It goes on forever.
I'm mixed, but I definitely work to present as a white person because I know that I can, if I play into that aspect, it is safer.
That's really crazy though that you have to do that in your work and not okay at all.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't have to, but enough times of people calling you racist slurs, you're like, okay, now this is fucking up my bag. And I'm sick of having to fight every racist piece of shit that comes in. So
I actually wanted to ask you, because you mentioned about the difference between escorting and prostitution, and in my sort of realm of sex workers, we don't use the term prostitution because that comes with a huge barrage of crime and negativity and stigma and a stereotype. So we try really hard not to, we say we're not prostitutes, we're sex workers, because as soon as we found as soon as you say prostitute, you instantly think of all the negative shit you've seen in the movies and the films. I suppose it's the same with pimps, and that is illegal in the UK. But it's all depicted so fucking bizarrely, and that's only such a small percentage of what sex work is.
Right. No, 100%. I mean, who the hell am I to tell someone the vocabulary they should use? I've noticed in the community here, prostitution, people are now calling it full service sex work, like FSSW is more the term people are using now. Prostitution in legal sense is what they use the term prostitution. That's the only reason I typically use it. And also, I'm very much someone, like, I don't really give a fuck if I say something and people take it the wrong way. Like, in that sense, where, like, if I know I'm not wrong and you want to think, like, same way, like, when I always joke, like, well, I'm a whore. And people are like, oh, I'm like, I'm doing nothing wrong. What, providing sexual pleasure to people? Like, I think I have no shame in that. Also, I think it's a very telling... People's reaction when I say certain words that might have a shock value, their reaction to it, I'm like, okay, you're my people or you're probably not my people. Yeah. But I also do like to stir the pot a little bit. I'm a little cunty like that, to be honest. But yeah, no, prostitution. I typically use sex work as an umbrella term for all avenues of sex work. So like when you said, what am I? I say I'm a sex worker. I'm predominantly X, Y, and Z. The reason I do that is because I like addressing it as an umbrella to kind of unify the community, and also because there is this what we call a whorearchy, or a whore hierarchy of non-contact dancers are better than contact dancers, who are better than cam girls because they show their vagina more, and then they're better than X, Y, and Z. Right. Which is funny because over the almost decade I've been in the industry, like the hierarchy like lineup has changed, which is funny. It's like such a bullshit thing in the first place, and now you're like, well, actually we switched it up. Let's do this one now. But anyways,
it's like women who shit on other women, and it's like, where's the sisterhood?
Yeah, well, there's unfortunately
not even talking about sex work.
No, as a group, as females, I think society does benefit a lot from us hating on each other for sure, which is a whole other thing to address and something to take down. But for sex work, I use it as an umbrella term because I think, one, it unifies all of us, that, hey, we're all doing something in this industry. And also, I think it's important the labor aspect of the job, and that it is a job, because as sex workers here in Canada, we really have like no labor rights, even as strippers. Someone just doesn't like you at the club and they like the manager, and they tell the manager, fire you, and you get fired. Like, you have no legal ramifications that you could like go through to address that. I think kind of addressing the work aspect of it is another reason why I use the term sex worker. But again, it means different things to everyone, right?
Yeah, I guess it's an interesting one with prostitution, because it shouldn't be the negative word, and I understand why people don't use it. But I guess, like, by saying it and being like, it's actually okay to say this word, it doesn't have... The only negative connotations are the ones that people are putting on it, because the definition stays the same.
I think it depends on who says it, though, right? If it was a sex worker, they were female, or it's like when a male says bitch, and it's like, oh, but you said bitch, and it's like, oh, it's so different. Yeah,
but I am the bitch. I'm allowed to say it.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, we should own the term prostitute and prostitution, and we should reclaim it, but it's so fucking hard to do when there is so much against sex workers.
I had a really good conversation with a girlfriend of mine, back to being different ethnicities. So I'm Métis, I'm French and Native, so people do not look kindly on Native people in Canada. We have a long history of hating Native people, and the amount of times I will be at the club, and especially when I have my long black hair, people will think I'm like from like Colombia or something with like Latina-esque, and they'll take me and they'll, either speak Spanish to me, or they'll think I'm Persian and they'll speak Farsi to me, and I'll say, I speak French and I'm Native, and then at times they'll be like, oh, you're a fucking chug. And chug is like the N-word to us. Like, it's like it's a really racist term for a Native person.
Wow,
like,
what the fuck?
So you liked what I looked like. Like, you liked everything I had. You liked the personality, you liked the tits, you liked, the look. And then as soon as you realize what kind of blood is in my veins, now you have a fucking issue with going for a dance with me. So that's one of the reasons why I do white passing now, which is, I know I'm a privileged person, that I can take on that role of being like a white person and act more white. Yeah. But I was speaking to one of my girlfriends who's a black woman, and we were talking about taking on different ethnicities, and if there is this kind of moral issue with that when you're kind of benefiting from an ethnicity that you're not. So if I were to play up the role of being Colombian because that makes me more money, am I then, taking advantage of another group of people who are at disadvantage?
I also think that you're like, as in that situation, you're already in a vulnerable place as a sex worker. So it's almost like, you know, you've got so many other things against you. You kind of have to do whatever you can to get by as well. And like, if it's going to make your job easier, if it's going to do this for you, then it's like, yeah, the ethics there. It's like, is it okay in that case? It's a really interesting question. I don't know if there's I don't think there's a right answer for it either.
There's a massive divide with the answers as well, like what you should do, what you can do.
You were saying, you know, we should use prostitute and we should reclaim that. And me and my girlfriend were talking about this, and we're like, I was like, you know, like I could fight every racist person that says something about natives, and I could be like, well, you know, I have 2 degrees and I have a great family and I don't have alcohol or drugs, but like fight all these like bullshit stereotypes they have of like my community. But and I was like, do you do that? Like when people think you're like, because she can she's very dark skinned, but she could also, people sometimes think she's like part Asian, and Asian obviously is very fetishized in the sex work community. So she could play up that Asian idea. And she's like, yeah, I do it because at the end of the day, like this is not worth the emotional labor. And like, I'm here to make my bag. Yeah. And I'm already a marginalized community. Like, I don't need to fight these battles. I'm here to I'm not going to change this man's like racist mind. I may as well take his money. So I'm like, yeah, I fuck with that. So I think the same thing goes to like, do I need to fight every, what I would call a swerve? It was just what you sound like you're talking about with that woman. So like, sex work, exclusionary radical feminist. Do I need to fight every single one of them and like put my mental health at risk and get annoyed talking to someone for 2 hours? You don't. No, it's not my battle, right? Like, and so like having communities that we create ourselves, like your guys' podcast or my podcast, and people can come and learn if they want to. I find that's a lot better for my mental health. And then, like you're saying, Florence, like we cultivate our own little community of like open-minded people. Yeah. And then when you venture out, you're like, oh yeah, people suck out there. I'm gonna go back to my own community.
They really do.
They say little shit out there, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I don't. Yeah. So I don't think there's any shame or anything. Read not battling every person that fights the word prostitute, right? You know?
Yeah, for sure. How did you get into sex work and dancing?
So obviously we have provinces in Canada. How far down in Canadian history do I need to go? We have provinces. It's like states, but they're called provinces for fuck knows what reason. And they're like kind of lined up and on top of each other. That's how like Canada's built, right? So one over is Alberta, and in Alberta they're called like oil rigs. Like a lot of our oil goes through Alberta, which is obviously good money. It's like everyone knows that oil's good money. So back like 8 years ago now, a partner of mine wanted to go be on the oil, and we call it oil like rig pigs, what we call them. They go work on the oil, and they make a fuck ton of money. And everyone knows they make a fuck ton of money there. There's nothing to do. It's like literally butt fuck nowhere. And then you come back with a shit ton of money to like a small town, and you blow it all on cocaine and hookers, which love that for me and my friends. So he went out there, and I was like, I'll move to Alberta with you, because his cousin was working at the strip club that was like the only place to go in that town. It's called Fort McMurray, Fort Mac. It's like an hour away from all the oil rigs, and nothing else is around. So it's like the only place they come to. I was like, fuck yeah, I'll go to the strip club. And I started serving there, and I got on really, really well with the dancers that were dancing. And then my boss knew that I'd competitively danced like all through growing up and got scholarships and stuff for it. So he was like,
amazing.
If you're comfortable dancing and you're comfortable naked and you get on with the dancers, why don't you make even more money stripping? And I was like, why don't I? That's a great question. So then I started dancing out there. And then when I eventually moved back here to BC, I just kept dancing. And then now I've danced through like Canada and other places, but
yeah,
it's like,
what was it like randomly, because I obviously have never done it, what was it like the first time you got up on stage?
Oh, those moons ago. But if anyone's listening from here, I'm 21. Never aged.
Amazing.
still in my 20s. I grew up competitively dancing. So I'm so used to being on a stage and performing for people that it almost feels like riding a bike again. Like, as cliche as that sounds, like you just kind of get right back in the moves. I do a lot of what we call clowning when I do stage sets.
What's clowning?
What's that?
Okay, so like doing like stupid jokey shit.
Oh yeah.
So like if I I don't know, I'm like playing with my tits, I'll be like do like finger guns and be like pew 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 like the guys, and I'll be like, come to me, like give me your money, like stupid shit like that. Which, but I think it's because my my look is very like overtly sexual look, right? Like big lashes, big boobs, big lips. That that like being like goofy, it makes you more like approachable, which is like a good tip for women that are on stage to be like clowning. It makes people like want to come to you more. I find it kind of like makes you less. Yeah, it makes you less like a little. I think people are intimidated by a very strongly sexual, beautiful woman. So being like a little goofy, yeah, it makes people want to come to your stage. Which obviously you want people at pervert, you want people spending money. So yeah, I think that's like where I feel most comfortable is clowning and being like jokey and goofy. So yeah, I just remember being on stage and just going right back into like being like a little goofy and being like cheeky and like that kind of person. Yeah, and I just didn't.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, I like it. Makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah, I can imagine the rush that you'd feel, and I mean, the cash part is something that me as a sex worker doesn't really get to handle quite a lot, and I'd love to have a go at stripping and like have the cash, the physical cash. Like cash turns me on anyway, and we're now living in a society where everything's on like phones and taps, and I never have cash unless I do maybe like a big job or I do like a foot worship session or something like that, but that's few and far between these days.
Oh my god, I wonder if it will change. I wonder if it will ever change where they'll tap, there'll be like a little like card contactless point just by the edge of the stage, so instead of throwing the money, people will just be like bloop, dude.
But there's also something
I hope not.
In like the theatrics of cash, because like a huge part of stripping, it's playing around with the money and throwing it in the air and putting it in the underwear, and it's almost like there's this like whole look and culture about it, which is just 100%. So good. I just want to smell it.
Does money turn you on?
It's like my only turn on. No, that money and blood are like my only turn ons.
Amazing.
I joke about it all the time. Like I'll be like, money is my foreplay. Like you don't even have to touch me. Just like hand me money. Like hand me money and I'll get wet. I love it.
Money. Oh my god, like hard cash gets me so fucking horny.
Like
so
a good
horny.
stack.
I don't know what it is. Like a thick stack.
Where does that come from? That is so interesting.
Power. You say power at the same time. I said power.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's gotta be power. Like, fucking give me. It's both. It's like the submissive part of being paid to do something, but also the dominant part of like controlling someone's paying you for something that just isn't a big deal and it's nothing. You're having an amazing time. You're like, you're gonna give me your fucking cash for this? Fuck. Yeah, like, I love my job.
There is this duality, right, where it's like it's this like fun concept, like you said, of like being paid to do things. You're like, oh no, like I have to do what you want. Not ever.
Yeah, like no, I don't. But, I have that fantasy as well. This is going into 100%. Dark trigger territory here. So like non-consensually being paid to do something you don't want to do, and it's like, fuck, I'm the sex worker. This is again only done within the safety realms of communicating and consent and safe
100%.
Words. But there's something so fucking hot about like, I don't want to do it. And pay me to
and then the flip side of that turns me on is that like I love that someone works so hard for their money, because most squares are not making the money I make, right? Mm-hmm. So you work so fucking hard for it, and then you're just like, take it.
I'm like giving it over. Yeah, that's some fin dom pay pig shit. Yeah,
love all of that. Love all of that.
You've literally worked yourself to the bone to get me money, and I'm just like taking it from you so easily just with my sexuality. It's so fucking empowering.
Yeah, it's not 100%. Easy though, is it? It's not easy.
Okay. I think
what part isn't taking money? Super easy. Easy.
Easy is probably what I'd say for people who, again, sex work is a choice and it's part of their identity. So sex work is for sure part of my identity. And when I say easy, I mean it's something that I've always dreamt of, I've always wanted to do. It's easy for me because it's a skill that I have learned throughout my years. Not necessarily easy for someone who goes, wow, that sounds easy, that looks easy, I want to have a go. It's like, again, you have to learn these skills, and I guess we have learnt them at such a young age because we had an interest in them, because that was something that excited us. And it was easy because, again, the things you learn skills are the things that you're passionate about. You learn skills and you pick them up easily, rather than like learning a language. Unless you really want to fucking learn that language, you will, and it will be easy. But if you really don't want to learn that language, it's a chore, and sex work was never a chore. Sex work was just like, fuck, this is fun.
It's an interesting like stereotype though, isn't it? Because I feel like people always just think, oh yeah, you know, it's so easy to be a sex worker, like you just get paid for doing nothing.
When people say that, like, I always say like it's fast money, it's not easy money. Which I think is like a very important distinction between it. Like, yes, I can make $2,000 in 10 minutes. Yes, I mean for tax purposes I cannot. But shit, I'm broke.
I'm
Don't
so
tax me. But there can be really heavy days. Like, it's not always you walk in and you make 2 G's, you walk out, everyone's super nice to you. Like, there is this like dark underbelly of sex work that it's not always like easy days. And I think the ones that have found it easier, like Reed and I, from what I'm gathering, we've done a lot of labor to make it like easy. It's like same like when you're like, you know, I've put hours and hours of whatever job they're in to make things look easy. Same as sex work. Like we've done the work to get to that level where it becomes easy to us, but it wasn't easy getting there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like the money is lucrative because of the risk we put ourselves under. Not just like the risk physically, emotionally, mentally, also the risk in society, in being able to, you know, just pay your fucking taxes or go to the police for something or talk to your friends, your family. You know, when you're writing out the forms, it's like, what's your occupation? You don't want to write sex worker in case, like when I was getting a mortgage, I was terrified that they were going to find out that I was a sex worker and instantly be like, no. And all my shit is out there. It's really obvious that I am a sex worker if you look for it. I was genuinely fearful that they would be like, no, you're a sex worker, we're going to reject you, and then therefore all your other mortgage attempts are going to be even harder to get. And that can happen for so many other people. I'm just, again, privileged being who I am and being able to like even just talk about it on a podcast or talk about it with my friends. But that is also the life that we've built up and the therapy that we've gone through and the people that we've kept in our inner circle or our outer circle even. You know, it takes time to do that, to push yourself towards more sex work positive people and cut out the people that aren't. It's hard to do that, but we've got there and it's paid off.
What do you guys say to people that think, oh yeah, you know, I think I might want to get into it? What's your like initial advice?
Do you want to go first, Annika? Your little head like,
these bitches. No, just so like again, like on the podcast I do have a lot of like what I call baby strippers, so girls that come into the industry, baby stripper advice. And like two of the one things is I do comment on that it's fast money, it's not easy money. So that's important to know. You know, do the emotional labor, the mental labor to get yourself in a place where the no's don't hurt as much, where you do have a safe community where you can call someone if you need help, like all that background work you need to do to make yourself as safe as possible is like fundamentally important. And then also, again, I speak of the place from privilege, and I think that's extremely important to note, and I respect, Reed, that you acknowledge that as well. But to go into sex work already having a bit of a nest egg if possible, so that whatever avenue of sex work you're in, you feel confident saying no to something you're not comfortable with because you know you're still going to eat tomorrow. Anyone
that is self-employed or freelance, especially freelancers, will get this. It's because money isn't guaranteed month by month, week by week. It is you don't know if you're going to make a lot or a little, or you're going to have completely quiet periods. So yeah, having a nest egg is having savings to fall back to where you can pay your bills and not have to do
I missed the lingo.
Jobs.
I was like, huh?
She had me clitnotized.
Curious fuckers. You know how much we love lube.
And for me personally, it makes my sex so much more pleasurable.
So that's why we're proud to say that we are sponsored by Durex and their Naturals range.
Woo! So this range is designed with vaginas in mind. It has 3 lubes and a condom.
Ooh. Naturals lube is water-based and pH-friendly with 100% natural ingredients.
Do like it natchy.
We really do.
Especially in partnered sex. Like you and I both know that we have so much better pleasure when we're with partners using lube.
Especially when you need to use water-based lubricant when you're using condoms, which is also part of the fucking range, mate. I don't know why I went Liverpudlian then.
So curious fuckers, we have a little treat for you. We are giving you 20% off the Naturals range.
Oh, yeah. All you need to do is go to durex.co.uk and use the code FG20.
So go check out Durex Naturals range and use the code FG20 for 20% off.
And don't forget to always read the instructions. So I wanted to ask you, how do you navigate your relationships as a sex worker? Friends, family, partners, romance, everything.
Right. So I am such a relationship person. I was in a relationship for 12 years. And
Amazing.
This actually is the first time in a long time that I've been single in the industry. But I did take some time where my partner we were living between here and another place. So he was like, I'll just pay you to work less. So he paid me a good monthly allowance to not really work much.
Wow.
Which I loved.
Okay.
10 out of 10 would recommend. Love that for me.
That's kind of like a sugar baby, sugar daddy situation thing.
Yeah.
But without,
kind of.
all the negative stigma.
Yeah, and also we knew each other since we were like 15. So, yeah. But he just made really stupid good money and wanted to see me more, didn't love me stripping, and was like, I know like you want more time to yourself to do your schooling and stuff, so I'll pay you to not work anymore.
Yeah, what a good fucking solution.
Yeah,
nice.
I love that solution. But we're not together anymore. But now I'm seeing someone in the industry, which has been interesting.
Yeah, that must be really different.
Yeah, I've seen women in the industry before, which is also brings its own kind of bag of things. But being with a man or hanging
with any
out.
job, I swear to God, if you started dating somebody who worked in any industry, they're always going to bring home work. That's just the way it is.
1,000%. Also, when you're with maybe that's just me, and I'm very, very competitive to like a bad degree. So like with my female partner, when she was in the industry, if she made like bank and it wasn't my night, I'd be like,
no.
Which I mean, I'm a supportive partner, 100%. I love a bitch making a bag, but it's kind of like harder when it's like you can't help but do that. I guess for me, because I'm so competitive, and it's not like in like with evil like intention. It's just like it's a good challenge to be but yeah, hanging out with a guy in the industry has been kind of nice because they just get it. They just get all the bullshit. Like they know it's an act. They know that no one's really a threat. They'll like he bought me some outfits to wear to work, which I thought was really hot. He was like, I think you look great in this. I think guys are like this. Or I'll like do like a lap dance on him and I'm like, oh, that move's really fucking hot. Like the guys will love that shit. Like it's just like not insecure.
That's really cool. What's the difference between dating someone in the industry and out of it, would you say?
This is going to be like a very like cast over everyone and not fair, I'm sure to say, but I don't think someone who's not in the industry will ever understand the industry truly. No matter how many books you read, no matter how many sex worker friends you have. I think it's just this really weird, amazing world that we live in the sex work community and the job we do. Like me and my girlfriend will have these insane nights where we're experiencing things no one will ever experience, and either we're like, fuck, this is awesome, we get paid to do this, get paid to travel here, we get paid to do this, or we'll have nights where someone's asking us to shit in their mouth and we're like, what is life, like how did we get here, like this and like that, like a range of things, like the array of things that we experience, I don't think anyone outside of it will get. And then I also don't think many people understand the disassociation or the compartmentalization that sex workers are able to do. No matter how many times I think you tell someone that work is not a threat, I don't feel that way about them. Yes, I'm a great actress. Yes, they're falling in love with me, but I love them as a human. They're no threat to our relationship. No matter how much you can comfort someone like that, I don't think a non-sex worker will fully understand that ability.
No, not at all. I mean, I've been in the situation when I used to webcam where when I started dating someone new, they were like, yeah, not okay with other people watching you, not okay with this. And I was kind of at a point where I was like getting a bit bored of it anyway, and I kind of wanted to stop, so I did. But I'm annoyed of myself for kind of doing what he said.
But you had to make the choice for your relationship at the time, and you can't regret that, because what can you do in that situation if they're not cool with it? You don't want to cause a rift between you and your relationship, and you do have to think about what the priority is. There's also that conversation around, you don't want to upset them or do anything they don't feel comfortable with, but then you're also like having to try and find a happy balance or still be the person you want to be. But again, you don't want to hurt anyone maliciously, but you also want to stick to your values and your guns. So it's trying to figure out what works best at that time, and for you and for them. It's never an easy decision.
Sorry, to go back to your comment about your partner, obviously I don't know your past relationship or the details about it, but I think it's different if someone were to enter into a relationship with you, being candid about, I don't really like this and it might be a problem, and you decide to go forward. I have an issue when I hear girls or men or whatever gender they identify with entering into the industry and someone saying like, I'm totally cool with it, and then like a month, 2 months, X amount of time down the line, now they're like, wait, you're not going to change for me? Like, that's when I have an issue of like that kind of, you know what I mean, like at that level of manipulation of like, you said you were cool, you knew what you were getting into. And that's another thing we were saying, advice for new sex workers, like there's that pro and con of telling someone early on when you're dating what you do for work, because it weeds out a lot of wasted time of people that are going to have an issue with it. But you also might be alone for a lot longer, because it is hard to find people who are okay with dating a sex worker.
What if they think it's cool though, and they're amazed by it and they're really positive and pro for it, but as it goes on they realize they're not comfortable with it?
What, because of like jealousy and stuff?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's always down to insecurities. There's no other way around it.
1,000%. That's something me and my co-host Riley talk about. We say everyone wants to fuck a stripper, no one wants to date a stripper.
Yeah, or marry one.
And it's or bring it home to their family or have kids with them, like all this bullshit, right? Like I am very like, I'm big on sayings, and there's this saying where it's like, I know what I bring to the table, so I'm okay eating alone. And it's very, very true, where like I know what I offer in my own life to myself and to the people around me. So unless you are elevating it in some way, you can go. And I know people think I'm harsh and people think I'm cold, but it's like, it's just true. So if someone were to come in my life and be like, oh, you're so hot that you're a stripper, and then, oh, I can't be cool with it anymore, I'd be like, okay, well, there's the door.
Yeah,
because I'm cool with it.
You have to let them go, because otherwise they're going to start destroying your confidence and the way that you do your work.
Exactly. Yeah, and like Reed said, like it does come down to insecurity. And do I really want a partner who's insecure with regard to our relationship? No, I don't want to waste. As long as it's nothing I've done to make you insecure, if I've done all I can to give you the comfort in this relationship, knowing that I am with you in whatever capacity that looks like, and you still can't get past it, then I'm now wasting my time. Yeah. As harsh as that sounds, like, and I don't want an insecure partner. Also, someone who's going to have an issue with sex work, fundamentally, we're probably going to have a lot of different views on a lot of different things. Like, our view of the world is going to be vastly different. So that will probably just be the tip of the iceberg for all the other issues we're going to have in the future.
Yeah. About, like, women, about race, about everything that's important, and they either won't know or don't understand and won't learn, or, it's all of their, like, assumptions. And that's tough. That is really tough.
So the podcast that you do, what is it about? Please tell us more.
Yeah, so it started as specifically sex work related, because I wanted a safe space for sex workers to just come and shoot the shit and share their stories. I was so sick of, media and news and TV shows with these outdated rhetorics of what sex work was or what sex workers were, and I was like, you know what, even if like one person listens to this and it changed their perspective of what a sex worker really is, like, job well done, love it. I started with just like my close friends who are sex workers who felt comfortable, either they could be anonymous on it as well, but coming on and kind of sharing their stories and showing that they're real fucking humans. And then it kind of branched out where people from the States would contact me, like, can I come on? And then people from like Europe, and like just everywhere, and it really like blew up, which was awesome. It was really cool to connect with like all these different people. And then I had a lot of like squares messaging me being like, this is news to me, I never knew this. I've learned so much, which was really rewarding. And then I was contacted by a person who was born a male, and they were saying, I've been wanting this my whole life to transition, and I've listened to your podcast, and it's starting to help me have conversations with my wife about this transition. So it's been cool because I've been with him his entire like transition, and one of the first times he presented as a female, we went for coffee, and he's like, will you be there when I do? I was like, of course I will, and I'll fight anyone who looks at you wrong. I'll have your back. I'm scrappy. So that was really cool. It's really, really awesome. And then so now I've had a few transgender individual comes on and explain their stories. One came on with their daughter, who explained how it was having their dad transition, which was a really cool story, not one we get to hear very often. So there's been a lot of rewarding, or people that are going into polyamorous relationships and how they've navigated that, which I think is becoming more and more, not necessarily popular, because I think it's always been something people wanted, and I think it's very much more of our natural instinct to be polyamorous.
I think society is changing. It's seen as less taboo and less like you're going against God himself. There's I think a lot of people are just warming up to the idea more and seeing it as more of a long-term thing for their relationship.
I mean, I'm definitely, I've always preferred Satan, but
I mean, I'm saying God in general, as to why a lot of us are monogamous is through religion. And I mean, as animals, if we take away religion completely, as animals, we are polyamorous. Like the whole point of our existence is to fuck and spread our seed and create more of us. So it makes no sense being, years and years married. Really, we want to just pop out loads of kids, which is obviously terrible for the fucking planet. So don't do that either.
Fuck.
We basically can't win.
But it's so amazing though, doing your podcast. I think it's so important to open up these conversations, which kind of got flagged to us recently by an interview that Reed was in, where she had to talk to someone that was anti-sex worker, and it kind of really makes you realize that we do really live in a bubble when it comes to everything sort of sex work, positivity and stuff. And by putting stuff out there, like opening up the conversation, you are reaching that like one person at a time. And that if that one person then understands and learns and like gains all that knowledge, then they can pass it on. And so well done for doing what you do, because I think it's so important. I want to slip in like a fun question. We ask all our guests their fuck off story, which is basically like your party trick but in a sex story. So something kind of mad that's happened to you. What do you think yours is?
Yeah, I mean, I do dom work, right? So I do a lot of stuff that people would probably be like, that's fucked. And I'm like, I love it. Love that for me. Love it for them. Love it for everyone involved. One of the things, funny enough, right? I have a black eye, which I've like really tried to hide in this episode, and like busted up lip and everywhere, which I've like really tried to cover this episode, but it's like, it's bad when you see without makeup. And I told my girlfriends, I was like, people know me and they know I'm pretty kinky, so it could pass as just something I randomly do with my new man. Who knows? But no, it's the price of vanity. I did my tear trough and now fucked up my face. But anyways, it'll look real good in 3 weeks.
Shit.
In time. But no, so yeah, I do dom stuff, right? And fetish stuff. And one of like the stories that people are always like, what? Is I have a client who loves anything golden. Amazing. So for people that don't know what that is, it's like anything with urine, right? So like pee on him, I'll pee in a cup and he'll drink it, like all that stuff. And then he really wanted me to like piss on his face, but I get really weird performance anxiety for some reason with pee stuff. I just don't know why. So like I can go pee in the cup and then hand it to you, like that's like a way I've like cheated the system. But he wants like in action, like live pee. So I say I import my gold, or like I bring someone else in to do it for me.
Nice.
And so I brought a girlfriend of mine, and I was like, can you piss on him, and I'll stand there so it's still like I'm involved for his sake, whatever. But she's like really good up on her vitamins. So her pee was really, really strong.
Wow.
And I have like a hound's nose, and I like was like in the room, and I was like, I just started vomiting everywhere.
You were being sick. Fucking hell, that's hilarious. Were you laughing at the same time?
Fuck me. Well, I wanted to gauge his reaction, right? Because you never want someone to think you're like sick on that and like you're like, ew, what are you doing? Like, you know, like I'm not judging you. I just like couldn't handle the smell. Oh my god, it was so funny. I just threw up everywhere, and I was like, and he's like, are you? I'm like, I'm good. Carry on. Like, it was so fucked up, but it was 100% just a scent. Like I'm very like a scent person.
Yeah.
Like literally a dog's nose. It's crazy.
I did the exact same thing with my good sex worker best friends, and we just like we did a cam show and we were pissing on each other in the bath. And I was making her gag. She was like gagging so hard. And then we just couldn't stop laughing while she was gagging. We were like splashing around in our piss while she was like trying so hard not to be sick. It's the funniest fucking thing, man. Like those are the moments that make you know?
Right? 100%. And like we've I've been like my best friend who I do my podcast with. This shit we've seen and done. There's so many times in the middle of something we'll just stop and like make eye contact and be like, what is life? We'll start saying to each other like, what the fuck is life? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, how do we get here? Like, oh my god, the good, the bad, and the ugly, I swear. Like, it's wild. But
oh my god,
we have a saying where we've been through like, you know, like the saying like hell and high water. Through hell and high water. So now when things are like insane wild or like fucked up, we'll be like, hell waters, baby. Like it's like our phrase to each other. I'd be like, yeah, we're fucking in it. Let's do this. Like,
let's go.
But yeah, no, there's definitely been some stories that like, which funny enough, like I don't blink at them. I'm like, oh, whatever. All on a Tuesday. And then people will be like, what the fuck? I'm like, oh, is that a what the fuck? Oh, okay. That's a what the fuck.
Oh my god, I want to know more. I want to know more of these stories.
That was a really good fuck off story. Oh my goodness, Danica, you have been incredible and so enlightening and empowering, and I feel like I feel really proud and positive to be a sex worker. We just need to talk to more sex workers. If you're a sex worker, you just feel so like, fuck yeah, I do love my job. It's everyone else that has a fucking problem with
lonely.
It. Yeah, everyone else sucks.
Yeah, lonely, exactly. I need to, I don't know, do some shit in London and find the sex worker community and, I don't know, just be badasses together. If I ever come over to your side, you should come say hi. We should come say hi.
Yes. Vancouver's fucking beautiful. It's great out here. You love it.
Yes, it sounds stunning. And of course,
I was going to say probably the same thing.
Sorry, Florence, you do that bit.
So where can our curious fuckers find you?
You can find me on Instagram at 50 plus a tip, which is 50 plus a tip. You can email me 50plusatip at gmail.com. I'm on Patreon too, 50 plus a tip. I have a personal IG, but please don't request it. I won't accept you. Don't make it weird, okay?
Do you get loads of private requests? You must do.
Yeah, I think I have like, I don't know, 2,000 or something right now. I don't have the energy to go through. Like I just like my Instagram, my personal Instagram, super fucking boring. So like people like now I don't even want to accept because I want them to believe that it's this crazy thing going on behind the scenes, but it's really not. Yeah, it's very boring.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was such a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Yes, you've been amazing, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Curious fuckers, we hope that you've loved this episode. We have. It's been really exciting and enlightening, I feel
please share it around with all your friends, your family, your mom, your dad. I feel like everyone
daughters.
Needs to. Maybe even your grandma. Grandma.
Get the G-Mars in there, G-Pars. And of course, you can keep up to date with everything we're doing on our Instagram at Come Curious, as well as our personal accounts, Reed Amber X and Florence Bark.
And you will hear us next Thursday. See you then, curious fuckers.
See you then. Check out the YouTube and our merch too. Yay!